We will be open the meeting. We're going to, before we open the Finance Ways and Means Committee meeting, I am opening the public hearing for comment regarding the proposed 2025 budget. Anyone here to provide comment on the county's 2025 budget? Anyone in the gallery? Seeing none, how about on Zoom? Kim, no one raising their hand? Okay, then we will close the public hearing regarding the proposed 2025 budget and call to order the Finance Ways and Means Committee meeting. If you could, Carrie, please roll call.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Here.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Here.
Commissioner Bray, here, Commissioner Peterson, Commissioner Fournier, here, Commissioner Kozlowski,
Here.
Commissioner Francisco.
Here. Okay, thank you. First item on our agenda is to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you could stand, please do so. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. My fellow board members, you have the agenda in front of you. I'll look for a motion in support to adopt the agenda as presented.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion from Commissioner Fournier.
I'll second.
I have support from Commissioner LaHaye. Is there any discussion on the agenda? If not, please indicate to approve the agenda, to adopt the agenda, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion is carried. The agenda is adopted. Next on our agenda is the public comment, and we have a number of cards for public comment. So if you did not fill out a card, it does not prevent you from making comment, but we will allow the people who have filled out a card to comment first. First, we have Doris Faze. And if I don't pronounce your name correctly, I apologize.
That was correct.
Okay. And ma'am, all you have to do is state your name and then you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you. My name is Doris Faze, and I'm here representing the League of Women Voters of Northeast Michigan. I would like to share with the board the League's position on public libraries. The League supports full-service public library systems. Public libraries should support our First Amendment right to intellectual freedom and expression by playing an important role in facilitating free and open access to information. Individuals should be trusted to make their own decisions about what they read and believe. Removing and banning books from public libraries is a slippery slope to governmental censorship and the erosion of our country's commitment to freedom of expression. Library staff operating within the standards of the American Library Association should make professional decisions about selection, organization, preservation, and dissemination of resources, services, and technologies without political interference. And I would like to add my comments in addition to that. At a recent library board meeting, the overwhelming majority of citizens who spoke gave comments in support of our library and its staff. This past summer, well over 100 people marched in a rally supporting our public library. Please, commissioners, remember your constituents and your community in the decision for appointing members to the library board. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up would be Pauline Buckner. Again, ma'am, if you would, just state your name and you'll have 3 minutes for your comments.
I'm Pauline Buckner. And I am going to read a few short excerpts from Chaos Comes Calling, which is written by Sasha Abramsky. And it's mainly about 2 counties out west, but then it refers to counties in Michigan. By late 2022, hysteria over trans issues had bumped out most other culture war issues as the manufactured crisis du jour. Hard-right politicians who in 20 and 21 had spent precious hours attacking Dr. Fauci and his public health pronouncements were now ready to take to the barricades to defend Alpena's elderly women and innocent children from transgender people. Not just in Clallam County, which is the county out, one of the counties out west, but around the country, seemingly by osmosis. Many of those who had spent the pandemic years railing against vaccine mandates, masking, and social distancing requirements, who had honed the fine arts of social media trolling by mocking or threatening doctors and public health workers, politicians in favor of COVID restrictions, and ordinary citizens who lined up for vaccinations, were now turning their attention to the new hot button issue of LGBTQ books available to children in schools and in libraries, and to health services provided to transgender teens. When Library Board of Trustees, when library's leadership from the library's Board of Trustees explained to the activists that they believed putting books on trans issues behind a curtain and demanding library patrons show ID before being allowed to view them out was unconstitutional and would not withstand a court challenge. The activists then grew more agitated. 1,800 miles east in Ottawa County, Western Michigan, a landscape peopled in the 19th century by Dutch immigrants and today speckled with stunning tulip fields. An even messier battle was unfolding. The affluent, fast-growing, but still largely rural county was historically as deeply conservative as any other region in America. Ottawa County had an outsized evangelical influence and a large number of residents who saw the world in terms of heaven versus hell, good versus evil, black versus white. The gray areas of modern life, the contested areas of moral and material ambiguity hold for many of these men and women.
And that's your 3 minutes have
Thank you.
expired. Thank you. Next comment card that I have is from Elaine Stenger. Again, ma'am, please state your name. You have 3 minutes.
My name's Elaine Stenger, and I'd like to address your vote on the library board. And I want to tell you that your vote today is much more significant than 2 appointments to the library board. Your vote tells all of us if you want to help create a vibrant, united community or a weak and divided one. Your vote tells us if you will protect our freedoms or limit them. I don't understand why you are attacking the rights of parents to decide. In the past year, 3 things have happened. The library board proposal renewal was passed. The 2 tax proposals you all put out were defeated. So today, decide if you want to continue alienating a good part of this community or be a leader for all of us. If these appointments that are under consideration are the best that you can do to support our good library, I'm extremely concerned about this board. Because of the decisions you all have made, in future elections, personally, I doubt that you will be unopposed. I'm asking you to please read the community, protect everybody's freedoms, and be a leader for all of us, all your constituents.
Thank you, ma'am. Next comment card I have is from Julia Silkworth. For the record, ma'am, please state your name, and then you will have 3 minutes to provide your comments.
My name is Julia Silkworth. I thank you for the privilege of standing before you. I have a rhetorical question today, one that I feel deserves to be asked, and it's an answer we already know. How are our county commissioners chosen? Is it not by appointment or by a vote of we the people? Since we then voted to choose you, we need to trust that we chose the best commissioners to make the best possible decisions for our county. The County of Commissioners have chosen 2 candidates that they believe will do the best job at being library board trustees. I personally know both of these candidates have spent a great deal of time at many, if not all, of the library board meetings over the past few years, expressing a variety of concerns as well as praise when proper. I believe the commissioners chose them based on their experience, expertise, and knowledge. And they, you, the committee, are seasoned in making these decisions. And I know sometimes these decisions are tough, but they are necessary. I believe that we should trust your ability to make the best decision, though in a real world, we may not always agree. But in this matter, I believe you chose wisely, and I support the committee's decision to vote their choice of these 2 candidates to the library board. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, ma'am. Next comment card that I have is from Judy Stillian. Judy, again, for the record, please state your name and you will have 3 minutes for your comments.
Hi, the name is Judy Stillian. And your job as board members to the library, your job is to appoint board members to the library who represent a diverse community and who can work cooperatively with the library's staff, business, and the community in general. Instead, you're nominating 2 people with extreme interests in mind rather than those whose interests are the community as a whole. I find it hard to believe that you would put representatives on the board who are coming in with a predetermined and divisive agenda. Prior to the millage vote, one of them, Julia Brines, I hope I pronounced that right, came to the library and harassed the staff by parking daily and visibly by the building with a grooming sign visibly attached to her van. A staff member had his picture taken without permission and was visibly upset. And community members came and escorted staff to their cars when they left so that they wouldn't be harassed and bullied. This negative atmosphere obviously created low morale and palpable unrest on both staff and patrons. The same person had a meeting with 2 staff members and was loud and aggressive, heard by many, and actively called to defund the library. Appointing these people will only have a negative effect on the library as a whole. The Alpena County Library has always been a warm, welcoming haven in this town. It has a statewide reputation for excellence. Do not destroy all of that with choices that come ready-made with an extreme agenda that will only cause unrest. The damage caused will have unintended consequences that may be irreparable. And I think it's important for the board as a whole to discuss these appointments publicly at a full board meeting rather than just accepting the recommendation from the Personnel Committee. And as a side note, I'm concerned about dismissing Lauren Mantle. She's done an excellent job and has requested to remain on the board for a 2nd term. Board members have always been re-upped if they chose, because they come with knowledge and experience from their 1st term. Lauren is more than qualified. She's a librarian at the college with a master's degree in library science, and there's no reason to dismiss her. It's like a slap in the face. It shows a lack of respect both for her, this institution, the library, and the community college.
Thank you, ma'am. Next comment card that I have is from Diane O'Connor.
Diane O'Connor. This board has the opportunity to maintain a library board that has the sole intent of steering the library in accordance to the policies and laws that regulate library functioning. Instead, this board is choosing to place at least one individual on the library board who is not only openly harassing library staff and board members over the last 2 years, but additionally actively pursued an agenda to shut down our library by promoting a no vote on the recent library millage. This would seem like a counterintuitive appointment to me. Clearly, this board has formed an allegiance with people who have an agenda to dismantle our library. These actions have been in play for the last 2 years and have resulted in tremendous costs to the taxpayers of our county and have threatened continued operation of library services. To review what your actions so far have cost the taxpayers of this county, the 2-year-long harassment program conducted by the book banners and this board's lack of support for the library board resulted in resignation of the head librarian. Not only will this cost tens of thousands of dollars to replace, but it will be difficult to find anybody willing to come into this position with the current turmoil that you created and are further exacerbating. As your agenda seems to be centered around forcing a librarian to violate the laws that regulate library functioning, any new librarian would also likely resign and leading to additional costs in recruiting a librarian. Should you be successful in finding a librarian who could be pressured into your agenda of banning books or making any library material less accessible, you are potentiating litigation in the form of a costly class action suit. You are aware of this, yet you have said you don't care. This is an interesting perspective from a board that has mismanaged the county budget into a almost $2 million deficit. Furthermore, your mismanagement of this situation led taxpayers to vote down not one, but 2 ballot millage proposals that you set forth to rectify the ineptitude that plunged this county into financial crisis. Your millage defeats resulted in the loss of jobs at the sheriff's department. Loss of man hours at the sheriff's department will result in a less safe community for our county. Aligning yourselves with the agenda of the book banners has proven to be nothing but a losing proposition and threatens the future of our library.
Thank you, ma'am. And the next and right now, last comment card that I have is from Dustin Budd. And sir, if you would, just for the record, please state your name and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Good morning. My name is Dustin Budd, Alpena County resident. I'm also a library board appointee. I've been there for approximately two years, a little bit over. First of all, I want to just clarify, there was a Alpena News article that seemed to imply that the county library board would not be welcoming of the new appointees. That was comments given by Mr. Joseph Garber. Mr. Joseph Garber did not have my permission to speak on my behalf. If there was any implication on that or anybody assume that is wrong, and please let that be known for the record. I look forward to working with the appointees you sent. I am not going to make a decision prior to them even sitting on the board whether I will listen to them or not. I will listen to them because they have been selected as appointees. They have volunteered. You have chosen them. I appreciate that. They've also just been let it be known that both of those individuals have been at nearly every library board meeting that I have attended and missed only one. So they are invested. They do have an understanding of the issues. They might have different opinions than some, but last I checked, we all have a right to our own opinion. There's also been a number of comments made about individuals. I think what the advice that our parents give us, if you have nothing nice to say, just don't say anything at all. It's pretty good advice before you stand up and make accusations against individuals that just aren't merited or warranted. And it just adds to the division. The library board has a lot on its plate. I think every library board in this nation has a lot on its plate. There are serious issues that we're all grasping to deal with and understanding how to deal with it and trying to hear what the community says. It's not going to help though by denouncing library board appointees before they even have a chance to sit on the board. So I would just urge us all to calm down. Listen to what they have to say. Realize that they do have an informed decision. They have both been on that, sitting at those library board meetings, and they do have an interest. Both have used that library heavily. and they've had a lot of input. And some of it has been just basically been disregarded. And I guess what really people are upset about is not being heard. We need to just try to work together here. And that's not always easy. And that has not always been what has occurred, but it doesn't mean that's not impossible. So I would urge us all just try to work together. Look forward to how we can find unity, divisiveness, and give everybody a chance on that. So thank you very much. I appreciate the chance to speak my opinion, and I look forward to continuing work on the library board.
Thank you, sir. Do I have anyone else that did not fill out? You wish to speak for public comment, ma'am? Okay, thank you. I was talking, so I have somebody over that would like to make public comment again, ma'am. State your name and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Dorothy Boyd, Maple Ridge. I wasn't planning to speak today, but I do not like it when somebody comes up to defame somebody with falsehoods. So let me set the record straight. I've been with Julie Brines since the beginning of all this. I was there in the band with her. It wasn't us taking pictures. It was the library staff that came out to take pictures of us. You know, we did not harass anybody. In fact, when Julie went in the first time to defend or to ask to have the book moved, she was taken in with 3 library people, and it was they who got hostile towards her. I was in the meeting when they met, when they refused to first meet with us, but then they decided to meet with us. I was in that meeting. All we ever asked for was a tool. We didn't ask for any book to ever be removed from the library. So when people choose to say these things about other people, I wish they would know what they're talking about. We asked for something so that a graphic sex book placed in the Department of Children's Books could be readily recognized by an adult or moved to the adult section. If the adult section books aren't never placed there because of graphic sex, I would be shocked. I would say that that's a recommendation for an adult section book. Because it's written in language for a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, it's still graphic sex. And yes, every parent should allow it. If you want your kids to read graphic sex, let them read it. Let them read about rectal sex. Let them read about all that stuff. But many people don't want that. Not remove the book, just to put it in a different place. Julie is not the enemy here, people. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else in the gallery that wished to make public comment that did not fill out a card? Again, I went through all the cards that I had. Sir, then I will get you next, sir. Again, sir, please state your name and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments.
My name is Bruce Heap, and I hadn't planned on speaking today, but I'd like to thank you for your serious consideration of the situation that we have at the library. It appears to be pretty hostile from what I've seen. The people who have a differing opinion than conservative people in this community. And they always said, well, you have to have the parents with you to make sure the child doesn't get this book if that's what your parents want. But everybody forgets that we have school field trips coming over with the kids to the library. And no parents with those kids when they roam around the library. So they put up a lot of false arguments here. And I commend you guys for you're taking this matter seriously and pointing to people that you think would represent the community best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And sir, you please. And sir, please state your name for the record and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Alan Plume, French Road. Had a library card for a lot of years. We just had a vote that kind of sent the direction the community really felt we wanted to go. I don't know why we had to take a second bite of the apple and go back to the direction we originally thought we could get, but if the vote didn't pass, I don't understand that agenda. In my opinion anyway, seems to make us more white, more straight, more Christian. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, sir. Yes, ma'am, please. Yeah, ma'am, for the record, state your name and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments.
For the record, my name is Julie Burns. I want to thank you for nominating me to the library board. And since I am a lesbian that has been with my partner for 39 years, I will bring true diversity to the library board for the first time. And I can assure you that we will look at all the agendas and everything honestly. And as I told the board when I interviewed with them, I know how to work a compromise. I believe in a win-win situation. And as I said, diversity is very important to me. So that should calm a lot of fears. And the other thing is, it looks, if you remember from childhood, the telephone game, a lot of you are playing the telephone game. You're at the end of the line. If you want to know the real story, come see me, because I've been here from the beginning. Don't stand here and tell me what's up, because I know the truth. You do. Thank you again. I know it's been hard on you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else in the gallery that would wish to make public comment that did not fill out a comment card? That does not prevent you from speaking. Yes, ma'am, please. Again, for the record, ma'am, state your name and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments.
My name is Julie Gondula. I am a homeschooling mom and a homeschooling teacher. I qualify that just to give you some background on me, a new resident, about 2 years in the community. And I've observed a lot since that time moving here. Beautiful community. I have unfortunately observed what I think we all see across the nation. I was going to get up here and be like, these are this point, this is how I feel. And then I realized I'm not sure it will be heard. So at the end of the day, the reason why I'm speaking right now is to give pause and point to the concept of representative government. It's not that you're one-off elected and then it's a done deal and you do whatever you feel is right. Oh, I was elected on these points, so they know I'm going to go full bore on these points. It doesn't stop there. Representative government is ongoing, where we continually check in with our community and see what's going on. Not only that, but it's not our job to parent as representatives, right? That's not the idea of our constituents, our commissioners, or any politician to parent us. I will make a good decision on your behalf because I've been voted in. That's not the point. The point is your struggle is to negotiate a path forward for all those you represent. So not all your constituents came out to vote. So even though you're in office, which is a huge achievement in and of itself, not everyone you represent did so. We live in a disillusioned time, but it's still your job to represent everyone out there. So when you have people from all different backgrounds coming up to speak to you, and what I hear is everyone really cementing into their opinions, it's your job to pick out each thing and carve a path forward, not to have singular alignment with a particular path or a particular platform. That's not necessarily representative government. And we as a whole have gotten so far away from it. And we can't on the small community level do what they're doing at the federal level. We don't want to divide anymore. We want to take back what we were originally supposed to be, which was I listen to my constituents. I'm representative of them. I help them carve a way forward together. So even though I think there's points on all sides and everyone's very impassioned, that's to be heard. But we cannot align with a singular path forward and then close our ears, close our eyes and say, this is what I'm here to do. I know better. That will create further division. And evidence of that can be seen in the desperation of people's voices needing to be heard. People saying, we voted on this. Why are we doing it again? Or no, I didn't do that. That desperation should be heard and not ignored just because we think we've come to our conclusion already. So I guess at the end of the day, I felt like any other specific points wouldn't be heard, but I really hope that the idea of representation might be reignited in your intentions. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else in the gallery that wish to make public comment? Yes, ma'am, please. And as I've stated to others, please state your name and you'll have 3 minutes for your comments.
My name is Bridget Hollinshead. I have been a resident of Alpena my entire life and have used the library for all of those years. I think it is abhorrent to want to take Lauren's seat from her as she is educated and aware. I think that a van driving around stating that the library is grooming children is heinous. Kids are exposed to many things, and it is the parents' responsibility to decide. And whether they're on a field trip or not, kids get to choose what they read. And it is the parents' responsibility to go over that with them if they feel concerned. It is not the board's responsibility to feel the need to parent. When I was a child, the library gave me access to books that my parents may not have approved of, but all that did was give me empathy, a point of view that wasn't my own, and it helped me learn about other people. And I just believe that if you move a book that is still censoring people who have the right to decide what they read. We don't want to censor. We want people to be able to form their own opinions and be educated and have empathy and understanding. I had a neighbor put up one of those grooming signs that the library was grooming children. And public record, it is public record for the sexual assault for them to register. And my neighbor who said the library was grooming children was himself a sex offender. Okay, so I just feel like he was projecting, trying to blame somebody else, take the viewing off of him. I believe that people should have the right to choose what they read. And, you know, these books may have information that make you uncomfortable, but education has shown to reduce, to reduce, I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Education has known to reduce sexual assault and kids learning about consent and learning about their bodies and learning about these things can keep them from getting hurt. So I just want to take into account that knowledge is power, and we should be able to give them access to what they want to read.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else in the gallery that wish to make public comments? Yes, sir. Please come forward. Again, for the record, state your name, and you'll then have 3 minutes to make your comments.
My name is Frank Bolos, Masney. I just really have a question. If I took those books out of the library, stood on the corner and let kids read them, how long would it be before this robust gentleman over here took me away? Yeah. Are these books not pornographic? That's my question. My commissioner does represent me and my opinions and my conservative values. And that's pretty much all I have to say. You know, I'm not very good at public speaking, but I think these books are pornography and they shouldn't be given to children to look at. We don't let 5-year-olds get a driver's license or buy liquor. Why are we gonna let them look at these books? You know, if the parents want to let them do it, then bring the parents with you to sign it out. These kids shouldn't have to look at this stuff.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in the gallery that would, yes, ma'am, please come forward. And as I've stated, please state your name for the record, and you will have 3 minutes to make your comments.
My name is Leonie Muller, and am I supposed to give my address or anything?
You don't have to do that.
I wasn't gonna speak. I've spoken many times in the past. My concern is that you don't give a 5-year-old a sharp knife to cut a steak. You don't teach calculus to a 6-year-old. Sexual development happens in adolescence, and our culture is riddled with messages and poor boundaries and child rearing practices. And there are some good ones. I'm not trashing the whole thing. but our children need guidance and protection from adult issues. We don't expect the child to pick which daycare he's going to go to or what junior high or even grade school. That's a parental decision, and it's also influenced by many other factors. The issue of sexuality is appropriate for human development, and that comes later. It does not happen at 7 years old. Yes, kids are curious. My kids, when they were young, they'd be pointing on the way somewhere in the car. What's that? Oh, that's a man. What's that? Oh, that's a woman. And one time there was an opportunity where they said, well, what's that? And I said, I'm not sure. And that was okay. But I didn't go into telling them about homosexual or gay or trans or whatever. That wasn't even on the screen for me at the time. But I think our culture is so riddled with so many messages that young children are developmentally and cognitively not prepared to deal with. Just like we don't have children here to say, what do you think? That's inappropriate. That's adulting a child who needs to have their childhood and their normal developmental processes. It's all over our culture. You can go anywhere from, books to Disney World to movies to Nickelodeon or anything else. We have a much larger problem than just the library. And I don't want us to become a conduit for infiltration that's going on worldwide. I'm not going to say anymore. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, please. Again, please, for the record, state your name and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments.
My name's Kathleen Bauer. I think we're getting sidetracked here. I'm hearing a rehash of all the library board meetings, and this is a county commissioner meeting. So I think we need to not rehash the library board. Let's let the library board do that. And I think what we need to do is, are you going to represent the entire community? Or are you going to choose a side and, as someone before has aptly said, try to parent us? Or are you going to try to bring our community together? Alpena is a vibrant, growing, wonderful town, and we have all kinds of different people, and we need to be represented. You need to represent all of us. And if you choose a side, what you're saying is, we don't want a vibrant community. We want to take a side. We want a side that is, divisive. We don't want to represent all our constituents. And I plead with you today, please represent all of us, all of us. Thank you.
Ma'am. Anyone else in the gallery that wish to make public comment? Anyone else? Okay, how about on Zoom, Kim?
Yep.
You have some representatives there? Okay, so I'll let you choose the order in which they wish to make comments.
Angela.
Joe Garber.
Okay.
Yes.
I don't see that. He's back. So we don't have video. Mr. Garber, do we have audio with you?
I believe so. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Okay, if again, sir, for the record, if you'd state your name and you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Certainly. My name is Joe Garber, and for the record, I am a current trustee of the library board and happen to be its board chair. My intent was not to speak, was to listen today, but I did want to make clear and reiterate that there was a misinterpretation of what I said in the newspaper by one of the other trustees. I believe I've reread the article 3 times now since that comment was made. And I believe I do say in 2 separate spots that I am willing to work with I'm willing to work with the trustees as long as it's for the betterment of the library and betterment for the community. I did not say that I was unwilling to work with the potential appointees. Number 2, I agree that rehashing these books is very counterintuitive. I believe it'll continue to happen until the people that would like these books either moved or removed from the library is settled to their satisfaction. I think one of the other speakers mentioned a meeting. I was at that meeting. We did listen very intently, and after that meeting, we did come up with some ways to identify and provide resources for parents regarding certain types of books, and resources for them to look up and see what these books had in them and how they may or may not affect their children. So I disagree with that comment. We have taken action that we feel was within our legal rights, our legal obligations to do so, and come up with parent resources. We are currently in the process, which we've stated at several of our last library board meetings, of reclassifying these books and reclassifying them and putting them on the shelves according to subject matter, and even putting them, I believe, on a little bit of a higher shelf to make it so younger children would not accidentally come across these books. Our policy is not to give minors library cards without their parents' permission. So to say that a child could check out this book without a parent's permission, the parent is giving permission if they allow them to have a standalone library card. We do have parents that only have one library card per family, so they can monitor what their children are checking out of the library, and that's totally within their rights to do that, obviously, and that's one of the things that we've promoted I promoted as a library board. I've never, without consulting with other trustees, have thought that I was speaking for the other trustees. So again, the items that were said earlier were a little bit off mark with my comments in the newspaper. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garber. Any further on Zoom, Kim, that wish to make comments?
Sarah?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, if you would, please state your name, and then you'll have.
Okay, so my name is Sarah Grahusky. I am a previous employee of the library. I worked there on 3 different occasions, most recently from August 2019 to October 2023. So I was present as an employee and in my last position as head of youth services at the library when Julie Burns submitted her reconsideration request and when all of this began. So I was part of the decision to deny her request to censor the books. But what I think is important to realize here is that Julie Burns and Tracy Collins have always felt comfortable in our library, which I think is notable because what they seek to do is make other people who love our library feel uncomfortable and that they are not welcome there. Public libraries are already set up with compromises for residents, for the public, and they have historical precedent for this. I think it's really interesting that you're going against history and also current times when boards are doing this, commissioners are doing this to library boards, and they're being sued and having to walk that back because what you're doing is not in the spirit of the United States or public librarianship. Another thing that I think should also be noticed is that all public libraries are organized by subject. That is what the Dewey Decimal System is. So what they are doing now is making an even simpler organization system for people who refuse to learn the system that has been put in place for decades, and that many of these adults learned in school, although we don't really have library in school now, so a lot of kids don't learn it. And again, that leaves it on the parents who are required to be in the library with their kids if they are 12 or under. I also wanted to mention that I was in the meeting with Julie Burns, and I have witnessed her lies and misinformation and aggressiveness. I physically had to move myself.
Ma'am, we are not going to make disparaging comments about anyone in these meetings or in your comments. So if you would refrain from that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So what I will say then is that there has been misinformation given today that I am willing to speak to in court when the time comes. And I will tell the truth about what happened, and there were witnesses. So I'd also like to add that there's been a lot of talk about sexual content and pornography. pornography cannot be sold and placed in libraries. So this is by definition, again, not porn. Porn is meant to arouse, not educate. And all sexual content that people are concerned with is in the teen room, not in the juvenile section. And the real crisis here is literacy. So I'd like you to please focus on the real issue here instead of creating issues that don't exist. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else still out there, Kim?
Excuse me, but we had some negativity back here.
Yes, ma'am, I went,
I'd like that
I
addressed.
was going to stop it, but they refrained and stopped their behavior once, I guess you turned around and looked, so I was. Okay, thank you. I was going to do that. It took me about a second, or a second or so lag time, but I had intended to do that. Okay.
Michelle?
Hi, can you hear me okay? I'm Michelle Cornish.
Yes, ma'am, if you would, again, as you stated your name, you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Okay. As a former member of the Board of Directors of the library, I feel the need to speak about the 2 proposed board members. The purpose of the library board is to oversee the county library, which serves 30,000 citizens. The commissioner's job is to appoint directors to reflect that diverse 30,000 citizens that represent the entire county and not focus on individual agendas or groups. As commissioners, you have clearly failed to provide a diverse board that represents the entire county. The pool of 11 potential board members was brought down to 2 women who are aligned with a group that fosters hatred and division because the board did not acquiesce to their demands. Instead, the library board followed legal advice. I'm shocked that as commissioners, you did not try to find a neutral board members to bring into these open positions. This clearly shows the community that the commissioners have an agenda and that you're not willing to listen to legal advice that we as a library board tried to present to you regarding the book controversy. It's also shocking that you did not allow Lauren to continue in her role in the board. She brings institutional knowledge, a degree in library science, and professionalism to the board. She has served in good standing and should have been allowed to continue in the board. I am disappointed that my resignation has been used to stack the board with members who have a clear agenda contrary to the legal advice. I am fearful that this group will continue to create division, hatred, and take away the right to read. I urge you to reconsider the recommendations for the library board and to find people who have not been involved in this controversy or have any agenda, but instead who are willing to focus on what is legal and acceptable for a county library.
Thank you, ma'am. Next,
Jenny?
Hi, thank you. My name's Jenny Stanzik.
Okay, Jenny, Ms. Stanzik, you'll have 3 minutes to make your comments.
Thank you so much. I am a retired educator from Warren, Michigan, and I taught English for almost 30 years. And I think that what happened in my school district seems to be something here. It went from a very white, straight Christian community and saw a lot of change, and it scared a lot of people. As educators, it was important for me to make sure that not only my students, but parents, et cetera, started to learn about the people that were coming into our community, even if they were a minority. If I look at a library, you know, that is what we are supposed to stand for, correct? Education. And I'm willing to bet that most of you that sit on this board are there because you love the library and the opportunity that it gives people. And the fact of the matter is, it is for an entire community. And it may be difficult to understand people that you have had no association with. But that's what the library is actually supposed to give us the chance to do. Read books about these people, try to understand them. If I think to the books that we taught, at least in my high school, and you know, almost all of them helped us to open up our eyes to people we maybe didn't understand. I think of To Kill a Mockingbird. I think of the book Night, trying to understand people in different situations, in different religions. And that's what you need to remember, even if the majority of people in this community are straight, white, and Christian, it is not everybody. And even more so, if that's the case, then they need books and commissioners and board members that are willing to educate themselves on the minority, because there will become a point where that is no longer the case. And the minority will become the majority, and they will have to do the exact same thing. If you are looking to appoint people that have been very clear about their positions and their unwillingness to read and educate themselves about the minority, then I think that's a misstep. And I think you need to look at your hearts and ask yourself, am I willing to educate myself and to consider that there are other points of views, other beliefs, and other people than just those faces I see around me today? Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any others to make comment? Nobody else out there in the Zoom world that wish to make comment? Okay, then at this time, we will close public comment and move on in the agenda. The next item on our agenda is to pay the bills, and I'll look for a motion and support to pay the bills. I have a motion from Commissioner LaHaye. Do I have support? I have support from Commissioner Ludlow. Any discussion on the bills to pay? Any discussion? If not, then a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray. Yes. Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier. Yes. Commissioner Konashevsky.
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco.
Yes. Next on our agenda is our treasurer's monthly reports for presentation. And I think this is probably your last, Treasurer Ludlow, of providing this to the Finance Committee. So please.
Thank you. So at the beginning of this year, January 1st, you had $3,597,408.09 of unrestricted fund balance. To November 30th, you have brought in $12,380,106.25 as revenue and have had expenditures of $11,595,149.18, leaving a fund balance of $4,382,365.16, of which $268,014 of that is reserved. For unreserved of $4,207,158.67. So far this year, you have brought in $784,957 more than you've spent. But remember, we just transferred $868,000 of ARPA money. So if you hadn't brought that ARPA money over, we would be using our fund balance to get through the rest of this year. This year compared to last year, last year at this time, we had brought in $454,000 more than we spent. So again, the transfer of the ARPA money is what's going to shore us up to not use as much of our fund balance, if any, for this year.
Thank you, Ms. Ludlow, for your treasurer reports. I would look for a motion to receive and file the treasurer's reports for the month of November as presented. I have a motion from Commissioner Peterson.
I'll support.
I have support from Commissioner Bray. Any discussion on the treasurer's reports for the month of November? If not, all in favor of approving and to receive and file indicate by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, the motion is carried and the reports will be received and filed. Yes, ma'am. That concludes the finance portion of our meeting this morning. I will look for a motion to rise and report to begin with, to turn the meeting over to our board chairman.
I'll make the
I
motion.
have a motion from Commissioner LaHaye. Do I have support?
I'll support.
I have support from Commissioner Fournier. Any discussion? I assume not. So all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The motion is carried and we'll close the finance portion of the meeting. Mr. Chairman, the meeting is yours.
Okay. First item is the consent calendar. We have different items on the consent calendar. If there's anything that anybody wanted to discuss on the consent calendar?
The only item I'd like to discuss, not the only, but the first item is the fact that I will be leaving my position as commissioner, but I am on the consent calendar or the personnel committee minutes to be a part of the Veterans Affairs Board. So I will recuse myself from that portion of the personnel committee meeting minutes.
So I guess we'd look for, so you'll recuse yourself from approving the consent calendar?
I don't know. I just don't want any kind of conflict of interest because I could be voting to approve myself to be on the Veterans Affairs Board. I just, again, for transparency purposes, I don't want to be accused of voting for myself for that aspect of it.
Okay.
So
I'll allow you to choose yourself, just
okay,
for that fact.
All right.
So then I'd look for a motion to approve the consent.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll support.
Support for that. So any further discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner Ludlow,
yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Okay, next item is the adoption of the 2025 budget. We've had the time period where we've had the budget out for review. We had the public comment for the budget at the beginning of this meeting. So I would look for a recommendation to approve and adopt the 2025 budget as presented.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Ludlow. I'll support. Support by Commissioner Konashevsky. Any discussion? Could we have a roll call on that, please?
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Okay. Next is the fun part with all the budget policies or the resolutions. So the first item that we have is a recommendation to adopt the 2025 budget policy regarding fiscal policies and that they are part of the 2025 budget. And just for the newer commissioners, so this is the part of the year that we go through all of our resolutions. Basically, this is the same thing we do every year. Go ahead, Nat.
No, I didn't have, do you want me to go through?
No. I thought you said something.
No, I was just, yeah, this is standard procedure to approve all your different budgets, not just your general fund, but as it lists all the different the component, the enterprise, the debt service, the several different funds that you do have to approve their budgets.
I figured that was part of the process.
Okay, so again, I'm looking for a recommendation to adopt the 2025 budget policy regarding fiscal policies and that they be part of the 25 budget.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner LaHaye.
I'll support that.
Support by Commissioner Francisco. Any discussion? And I guess do we need a roll call on these or?
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay, roll call, please.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Next item, oops. Next item is the recommendation to approve the resolution for the component funds. I'm just trying to get to that one. So what I did is I went through each one. So Kim had attached all the different funds that those are included. This one includes the Friend of the Road Commission, Friend of the Family Court, Multi-Court, Health Department, Library, Land Bank, Family Counseling, Recycling. So that's the funds that this resolution covers. So I'd look for a motion.
I'll I'll make that motion.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Fournier to approve the resolution for the component funds. I look for support. Support by Commissioner Tim?
Yes.
Any discussion? If not, roll call.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Next item is the recommend, I'm looking for a recommendation to approve the resolution for the general fund.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Commissioner Konashevsky,
Support.
support by Commissioner Ludlow. Any further discussion? If not, look for a roll call.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Next item is looking for a recommendation to approve the resolution for the special reserve funds. I see all those funds, but there's a lot of them.
So moved.
Who said that?
Peterson.
Commissioner, so we have a motion by Commissioner Peterson
Francisco supports.
and support by Commissioner Francisco. Any discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Next item is a recommendation to approve the resolution for the debt service funds. That one includes capital improvement, sheriff's office, Alpena County Library Project, Central Tower, Airport Drain Commissioner. We have a motion by Commissioner LaHaye,
I'll support.
support by Commissioner Fournier. Any further discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Next item is a recommendation to approve the resolution for the capital project funds.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Okay,
I'll support.
so we have a motion by Commissioner Francisco and support by Commissioner Bray. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Next item is a recommendation to approve the resolution for the enterprise funds. This one is all the treasurer stuff.
All tax revolving fund.
Yeah.
So,
So moved.
so motion by Commissioner Peterson, support by Commissioner Fournier. Any further discussion? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky, Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yep.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. And then the next item is a recommendation to approve the resolution for the internal funds. And the internal funds,
I'll make that motion.
okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Fournier,
Support.
support by Commissioner Ludlow. Any further discussion? If not, roll call.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
Yes. Our next item is, we're looking for a recommendation to approve the treasurer's reserve recommendations for 2024.
I'll make that motion.
We had an attached letter from the treasurer.
Yeah. Let me go through this. I can go through it quick. If
Go
you
ahead.
want.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Give you something to say since.
County of Alpena adopted a fund balance policy in December of 2009, what was amended in December of 2013. And I'm going to read a part of that fund balance policy. Once the audited unrestricted general fund balance has been determined, from the previous year and there is a gain in value, that gain will remain in the unrestricted general fund balance until the minimum requirement of 30% of unrestricted general operating fund balance is achieved. After achieving that minimum requirement of 30%, the treasurer shall recommend a course of action to the Board of Commissioners for their consideration. The intent of the treasurer will be to fund long-term and short-term capital outlay items in such time as the treasurer and Board of Commissioners feel those items have been successfully funded. It is the current, for this year, it is the county treasurer's recommendation that none of the $3,274,059.09 of the projected unrestricted general fund balance for December of 2024 be transferred. The projected unrestricted fund balance is below the required 30% of the 25 budget by $526,125.71. So obviously, because it's below the requirement, I would not recommend. What we're looking at right now, the projected unrestricted fund balance is 25.85% of your budgeted 25 expenses. So you have gotten above your 24.97, which is awesome. But we're also far from the 30% where the treasurer would make a recommendation to put anything to reserve. I can tell you the first 5 years I was here, I was able to make a recommendation for monies to be moved to the equipment fund or the building fund. And I have every faith that this board will get us back, or the county board will get us back to being able to put money in our reserves again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm looking for the recommendation to approve, or motion to, or recommendation to approve the treasurer's reserve recommendations for 2024.
I make that
motion. So we have motion by Commissioner Fournier, support by Commissioner LaHaye. Any further discussion? If not, you can read, this isn't money, so we can approve this by voice vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Next item is a recommendation that the treasurer be authorized to pay all remaining bills for the 2024 and make any budget adjustments for 2024.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner Francisco, support by Commissioner Ludlow. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passed. So next item is is something that I asked to put on here. So in previous years, and what I was going to do if the board is comfortable and good with that, obviously, the board chair makes the decisions on appointments for 2025. And I know that this year when I was appointed, the committees were already appointed, selected, and I just wanted, for transparency reasons, I obviously would be putting in for the board chair for next year. So I would look to ask for your approval to continue to look at the committee assignments and work with you guys to figure out which committees you'll be on. It's not really a motion, but I just wanted to throw that out there that I'd be doing that, or looking forward to doing that with your approval. If you guys are good with that, I'll press on with the.
I'm good with that. Is Jesse gonna get something out to the board?
Yeah, I'll.
And they say want to be on?
Yep.
I'm good with it.
Okay.
I would actually like to remain on the boards that I temporarily have since I've been on them a bunch of times, just putting it out there. I mean, so.
What I'll do is I'll talk to each one of you, because I'm in the courthouse probably every day, stop in and we can go over those and review if there's something that you're not comfortable with. And I know I did talk to Todd about this prior as well, just so he's aware. So, we can, if you're comfortable with what you're on, we can go over that. If you're wanting a change, we can go over that as well. So I just wanted to put that out there because, like I said, normally you know, we show up in January and it's all done. And if you guys are comfortable with what's gonna, you know, what you're on, then I'll press forward with that.
Jesse will give us the list and we can choose from there.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Next item, we had a poll vote for the termination of the Synchronization LLC contract. We did have everybody that did put in that did vote on that except for Travis.
Yep, and I am on board with that as well.
Okay.
Chairman, if I could, please,
Yeah.
sorry, something came up. So on, actually just yesterday, December 9th at 11:24 a.m., Norm and I had been conversing. Their pay period ends actually on December 22nd. He asked if we'd be okay with the contract ending on the 22nd rather than the 27th. The reason we did the 27th is because the contract required us to give at least 30 days notice. But because of that pay period ending, they asked if they could end it earlier. I didn't see a problem with that. I would like to know that Synchronization LLC and the Summerfields have been great during this transition process. I know it's a difficult decision for the board. One that they understand, especially with financial waters that we're trying to traverse this year.
No pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. But if we could, I would like to just change that December 27th to December 22nd, if that's okay.
We have a motion for that.
Yeah, well, so the recommendation, well, I guess.
It'd just be to amend the poll vote.
Okay, so we can amend the poll vote to make that effective. What was the date, did you say?
Yeah, the 22nd.
Second.
Okay, so I'll make that motion to amend the poll vote to December 22nd.
Okay, so you're making the
Motion to amend it.
Okay.
I'll support her amendment.
So we have a motion to amend by Commissioner Fournier, support by Commissioner Francisco. Any further discussion? And we'll just do a poll vote on, or not a poll vote. Yeah.
A roll call? Okay. Commissioner Fournier?
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky?
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye?
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow?
Yes.
Commissioner Bray?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay. Next item is Commissioner, County Administrator Jesse Osmer.
So we do have the MDOT lease renewal up. It's a 6,000 square foot building. Originally, MDOT started leasing it in 2000. When I came into this position, they had sent over a draft lease where they would like to rent it for a 10-year period, starting February of 25 through February of 35. At that time, the lease rent was suggested at $36,000 a year. We went back and renegotiated it and actually raised it up to $45,000 a year. I did use some of the numbers that we used with the 7-Eleven building in order to give kind of a fair comparison of what we were using as close as possible. And so actually the $45,000 will be slightly higher in the beginning. That's a little bit lower by about $1,200, I think, in the end, but it kind of balances out. So we are actually getting fair market value with that. Just looking for a motion to approve signing that lease.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve the signing of the lease with MDOT.
I'll make that motion.
I'll support.
Motion by Commissioner Ludlow, support by Commissioner Bray. Any further discussion or comments? If not, roll call, please.
Commissioner Francisco?
Yes.
Commissioner Konashevsky? Commissioner LaHaye?
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow?
Yes.
Commissioner Bray?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier?
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And the next is with the termination of the contract with Synchronization, we'll be absorbing some of the staff. We went through and worked the numbers. As of right now, it looks like it'll be let's say savings. It would be about $20,000 less going into the management and contractual agreements. However, we did want to do some payroll adjustments, obviously with the manager taking on some additional duties, as well as the assistant manager and then the lifeguards, just to try making it a little bit easier for us to retain staff because we have high turnover there. Even with these recommended adjustments, it'll be a savings of $15,200 to the current contractual agreements and payroll.
So you're looking for a motion to approve the pay scale for the
For the Plaza Pool.
Plaza.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Commissioner LaHaye, support by Commissioner Konashevsky. Any discussion?
Have we all seen that pay scale change? I have not seen it.
It was,
Oh, that's the one.
I'm so sorry, yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
We're-
I apologize.
Okay. Give me just a moment to.
Yeah, no worries. Apologize.
The question that I have, so, okay, you have in the current situation with the employees with synchronization, there's a position that was being filled, and I guess, would it be the assistant manager with Elaine?
It would have been technically two, it would have been the oversight with Norm using the LLC, which would have been the contractual agreement. And then Elaine, I apologize, I'm not positive on what her title was.
Well, I know she was getting paid every 2 weeks.
Right, she was doing payroll, running invoices.
And I think I kind of recall way back when we had the library, the Plaza Pool, we had a person that was in, I guess if you want to call it the assistant manager, that was actually I don't know, she worked with the person worked with the manager to, I guess, make sure that there was someone there at the pool. I know that if this person is the assistant manager, I don't think that 20 hours a week is going to come close to what.
So I worked.
Current individual.
Right, so you're correct in that. And I worked with Kim in basically reassessing some of the hours. And actually, she said Chanel, who would be the assistant manager, usually only works probably closer to 18 hours a week, but we were a little conservative in our projections. So just in case something goes over. And it's important to note with most of the lifeguards, I believe all but one are mostly high schoolers. They're between the ages of 16 and 18. There is one lifeguard who does senior classes, but her position is actually covered by a grant, so that wouldn't affect payroll.
Okay. So does anybody have any other questions?
Sure.
Comments on the pay scale?
And how many lifeguards typically do they have?
Right now there's 14,
14.
not including the senior, so 15 if you count them.
Okay.
Sorry.
So we need a motion to approve the,
I think we already had one.
what's that?
We already have it. It was
Okay.
just part of the discussion that I wasn't
Side.
aware that I didn't associate this
Okay,
document with that.
so are there any other questions or concerns? If not, roll call.
Commissioner Konashevsky,
Yes.
Commissioner LaHaye,
Yes.
Commissioner Ludlow,
Yes.
Commissioner Bray,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fournier,
Yes.
Commissioner Francisco,
Yes.
Commissioner Kozlowski.
No. Okay, next item is posting for, oh, wait a minute, are we doing that?
Well, it's just to discuss. Yeah, because of the hiring freeze, I had a couple of the commissioners come in and wanting to know when we're going to post for that. I was looking at it. We do have.
So technically,
Yes, ma'am.
the county treasurer has to post for that.
Apologies.
You guys can approve it as well, but your county treasurer will have to post for that.
Got it. Thank you.
We don't have much of a discussion.
Just.
Well, your county treasurer should ask permission to post for it. The treasurer-elect Cindy Sabula has not said anything to me as of yet, so I didn't know when I seen it was on the agenda, if she had spoken to you guys about it. So I don't know if she even has a job description set up yet.
Going to be a vacancy coming up here?
There is going to be a vacancy come December 31st, yes. Yeah.
So
I guess the only thing I wanted to know is because of the hiring freeze, you would need approval to lift that hiring freeze. Did you want it on the special agenda that's following the organizational meeting on January 2nd? Where we're, and I'm sorry to backtrack, and I should note this, somewhat unrelated, but also somewhat related. I did get a electronic message from Griffin James that came through on the 5th of December at 9 a.m. Confirming that he is not going to be taking the position. He was going to send an official email to Carrie. I'm not sure if that's reached you yet.
I haven't gotten it yet.
But I do have confirmation from him. Again, that was received at 9 a.m. on December 5th. So with that in mind, we had talked about doing the special meeting following the organizational meeting. I didn't know if you also wanted this basically lifting that freeze on that special agenda as well is what I'm asking.
So the meeting after the organizational meeting will discuss the potentially posting of lifting the freeze for the treasurer's office.
Right.
Okay, yeah,
Okay.
I'm fine with that. Are you guys fine with that? Okay, so we can add that to that agenda. A question, I guess, with the Griffin James issue and the posting, we probably technically can't post it until we officially have a letter, correct?
No, and this board already gave me permission to follow through on that once that letter is received. So I've been monitoring. I'll reach out to him again, but again, he on the 5th said he would be sending an email to Gary, but he did confirm he's not intending to take it.
How long do we have to post for that?
I don't believe that there's a set amount
I don't
of
think there's a requirement
30 days from the.
to fill it.
Correct, yep.
So,
I mean, ideally 2 weeks would be, I think,
and today's the
10.
10. Okay,
Again, I'll follow up on that. I just wanted to know if I could add that additional item or if you wanted that additional item added to the special meeting.
yeah,
So,
that's fine. Anything else with that then?
yes, sir.
So now we're back to final public comment, then 3 minutes per person. If anyone would like to speak. Okay.
Thanks.
The time is already going.
I get it. I'll move as fast as I did. Spending 40 years in the Army, you kind of have aches and pains. My name is Bert Francisco. I just wanted everyone to know I am not going to be continuing in my role with this, the District 6 representative. But I also, because of today's vote, wanted to speak on a couple of the items that are on the consent calendar. So at least my constituents know where I stand and where I stood. My vote would not have made a difference because of the unanimous vote that was already there. With respect to action items PC 1, 2, and 2, I fully concur with my constituents' vote today on those appointments. With regard to action item PC 3, appointing candidates to the following boards and commissions. I also concur with the board's vote today on the consent calendar, with the exception of 1 for the road commission. I non-concur with that one. I think there was an opportunity to, like other boards and committees, to have some change and new ideas and other inputs. But the committee recommended continuation of the current 3-member, of the 1 individual, the current 3-member board. And then obviously in Veterans Affairs, I was not able to vote on the consent calendar because I was on there, but I appreciate the board's giving me the opportunity to continue to serve the county. And obviously after 40 years in the Army, I have an affinity for veterans. So I used to be on the Veterans Affairs Board before I was elected commissioner, and I look forward to going back to work with the staff, Dan and oh my gosh, Mr. Morgan, on the Veterans Affairs Board. So I appreciate your vote there. Subject questions, that's all. I guess in public comment, you don't have questions, but thank you. It's been a pleasure serving with all of you, even though we have one more meeting to go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Could you just restate your name?
My name's Elaine Stenger, and I have a cost-saving suggestion. I live on Bilton Road, and when we moved here 24 years ago, my driveway was even with the street. Now, the street is 18 inches above our driveway because every year more gravel and dirt is brought in. And so we've built a berm, 2 concrete bags high with dirt, gravel, and a grass berm that we have to drive down into our driveway. And now next year in the spring, when you all have the road commission bring in more dirt, the road's going to be higher than our berm. And so every lakeside property on Bilton is being flooded because the street, again, has been raised 18 inches. So, I mean, if there's a way you don't need to bring dirt in, you don't need to buy more dirt, I would love that. So, and so would all the other neighbors. So just a suggestion.
Chairman, if I could, Elaine, can I talk to you after this meeting?
Sure.
All right, thank you.
I was just going to mention too, normally we don't, our board doesn't really oversee the road commission. And so
I have to go there.
Well, I think because we know the road commission individuals there that we could relay that in.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Anybody else?
I have a comment. Do I have to go there?
We got one more. And just for the record, you don't need to.
Okay.
I wasn't expecting you to.
Diane O'Connor, and kind of round two, I want to follow up on a couple of things that were said earlier. There was a big to-do made by a current library board member, Dustin Budd, that the two people that you are nominating for the board position attended every library meeting. I know somebody else who attended every single library meeting also, Lauren Matlow, who seems to be very uniquely qualified to be on the board as she is a librarian and she's experienced on the board. And the fact that you chose a person who openly tried to shut down our library by encouraging people to not vote on the millage and also harassed people who worked at the library and our library board for the last 2 years. And that's the person that you are choosing over Lauren Matlow means, in the words of Logan Roy, you are not serious people. I think you feel comfortable in your position because, as was pointed out, you got reelected. You got reelected because you essentially had no opposition. That was the reason. The real referendum on people's confidence in you was in the failure twice of 2 of your millage proposals that were supposed to save you from the mass mismanagement, lack of planning, our county budget that put us $2 million in the hole. That was the referendum. You don't approve of this library decision as manifest by the library millage passed handedly. Your millage proposal failed twice. I don't think I've ever seen that in all my time here. I really do not. So kudos on doing something nobody else has managed to do ever. The last thing I would say is you feel safe in your positions, but you're not, because there's always the ability to recall. And I think any of you who vote for a library board member who is an agitator, you already put 1 agitator on the board, and now you're going to put 2 more. And I think any one of you who votes for a person who proposed to shut down our library, any one of you, all of you, need to be recalled. Thank you.
name is Michael Kramer, I live at 226 Fair in wonderful town of Alpena. First of all, the Constitution does not give people below 18 all the rights that adults have. Well, let's get that out of the way right away and stop pretending that it does. It does not. Pornographic literature that we found in the library, it was very disgusting. I raised 6 children. I know what disgusting is. And you people were intelligent enough to see that when those books were brought in front of you. Thank you very much for that overriding intelligence that you brought to this decision. The people that have been nominated to the board are excellent, very intelligent people. To characterize them as nothing but radicals and disruptors is baloney. They have been honest and forthright and come forward with very solid evidence that this is damaging our children. To think that gender dysphoria is something that needs medical attention is to say that you need to mutilate your children. We need to stop thinking like this in this country and come to grips with the fact that in actuality, children are children. They should be allowed to be children and not encouraged to follow their dysphonia into a mutilation of their lives that they can never recover from. Thank you for your intelligence. And I would encourage everybody that thinks that I'm full of BS to read the latest scientific literature on this. We as a country are isolated in the world by what we're doing to our children. It's going to go down in history as one of the worst human tragedies of all time. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else?
First, I want to say thank you to Mr. Cisco. Enjoyed the opportunity to serve with you, and it's been a pleasure to have a chance to have you as my commissioner. And I look forward to your opportunity on the Veterans Board. I know we'll see a lot of good things from you there, sir. So it's been a pleasure, and it's God. I'm going to address quickly. Mr. Garber and I have a difference in opinion as far as what that are said. I'll take that up with him. But I've read it myself a few times, and so I'll take that directly to Mr. Garber. As far as being called an agitator because I have a diversity of opinion, I thought we were talking about freedom, freedom of thought, freedom of speech. If my speech does not necessarily align with your ideas, does not mean I'm an agitator. It means I have a diversity of opinion. I would say this in nearly every board meeting that I get a chance. I encourage people to come talk to me. We have differences of opinion. That's okay. But I encourage you to come talk to me. And I would love to sit down and just hear. Very few people have taken me up on that, but those that have, it's been interesting. We might have differences of opinion when we part, but we can still have a chance to have a conversation about it. So that's all I have to say. Thank you very much. Thank you for the time. I know each of you have very busy lives, and this is time out of those lives. I appreciate what you do and the willingness to step into these positions, which don't always necessarily garner favor. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone on Zoom? And I just would like to add as well that I know as a county commissioner, I have many times put out that I'm willing to meet with anybody that has any questions about anything, budget. One of the individuals that spoke earlier that was in my district, actually, I reached out to him to ask him because he had a question regarding our budget. And a lot of times I don't get, I think I've probably had one, maybe two people that actually took me up on my offer, but my offer is always out there. If anyone in the county has any questions, I'm more than willing to sit down and meet and go over whatever you'd like to go over. So I appreciate the individuals that show up to the meetings, and at least get educated on what's going on with our county. And again, if anyone has any questions moving forward, I'm always available to talk. So I think we're at the end of the meeting.
I have a comment.
Oh, yeah, comment.
As a newbie to the board, I was appointed and luckily I was elected. And I trust my colleagues in making the effort of reviewing the boards, interviewing the people and coming to their decisions. I think that I hear about how we don't want to overweigh boards or committees with one-sided opinions, ideas, and beliefs. Well, you have boards, this is an example, that are odd numbered. You risk that chance of happening. And so we need to, I feel that we are in a quicksand pool and we're at the edge and we just keep standing there, we keep pulling down and we're drowning each other's voices out. If the vote had gone a different way and we had different members, I think we would have a different group here today. So I agree with Mr. Budd. However, I don't know what our opinions are or whatever. I say, give these people a chance. Give our commissioners a chance that they are looking after the community, because I truly believe in the 3 months that I've been sitting on this board that there aren't commissioners or none of the board members are looking to weigh a certain opinion or a certain dynamic. So let's trust, move ahead. And I have a question in that there's been a lot of discussion about the board member that wasn't selected or renewed. Did anybody find out from the interviewers why that was? There would have to be a reason. So before we go, let's just look at a way to move ahead. we need to move ahead and not get sucked into the quicksand. Because if this doesn't get moving forward, it's not going to be totally resolved, but we have to move ahead. I mean, we can't lose the library. We can't lose the benefits. So we have to come up with a way to move ahead. And I say, give these board members a chance. From what I could see in my reading minutes and everything, the library board is very transparent. They take very good care of everything's going on. The library is not failing. I don't anticipate people grabbing these books off the shelf and running out, and throwing them in a fire pit. That happening. Let's just move ahead, because each year it appears that a new member comes. So let's move ahead. That's all I have to say.
Any final comments from the rest of the board? If not, I'd look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner LaHaye. Support by Commissioner Francisco. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Or